Here are 10 foods you'll stop buying once you know what they're made of. Some of these snacks may surprise you, and some may not. Hope you're hungry. Cheese Whiz. There are hundreds of reputable cheesemakers and artisans in the U.S. alone, but this isn't about the art of producing the tasty dairy product. No, this is about what the Cheese Whiz label says is cheese spread, and its orange color seems to be the only commonality to the healthy original. It became an instant success in 1950s North America for its taste and convenience. Cheese Whiz has morphed over the years, with exciting new flavors now available in the form of salsa dip, Cheese Whiz Light, and even Cheese Whiz Burger flavor, though you'll have to travel to the Philippines to get this one. If you read the label of ingredients on the container, you may notice some pretty big words that only a chemical engineer can confidently pronounce. The real benefit of this treat is for cleaning. That's right, this spread uses an additive called trisodium phosphate, an oil-fighting compound that used to be used in clothing detergents. Such phosphate use was banned in the 1970s due to its connection to runoff water contamination responsible for algae blooms in our waterways. According to the FDA, however, it's safe to eat in small amounts. Thanks, FDA! After breakfast, just spread your Cheese Whiz on your oil or blood-stained fabrics, clothing, or rug. Then let sit for 7 minutes and machine wash. Bam! That stain should be gone and you'll still feel full. KRAFT mac and cheese. There aren't many people whose childhood memories weren't filled with plate loads of these familiar cheesy noodles. The iconic blue box seemed to be a part of our culture, like blue jeans and bubblegum, and still is. However, like most things that taste great and are easy to make, it might be a good idea to know more about their ingredients before we polish off a whole box straight from the pot. Ever heard of phthalates? Phthalates, or plasticizers, can be found just about everywhere in the manufacturing world, in rubber, plastics, soap, fragrances, and much more. Oh, and on that list is orange cheese powder. A 2017 study found 29 of 30 popular processed cheese products contained such chemicals, with powdered cheese topping the list, containing 4 times more than natural cheese. And that doesn't even include the dyes that have been linked to other health-related issues. For some reason, there's a lack of continued study on the matter, and because of this, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has stated the impact of low-level exposure on humans is unknown. But it is helpful to know that certain phthalates have been banned in children's products since 2008. Gummy bears. They're sweet, they're colorful, they're a mouthful of joy. And for the most part, they're made with boiled-down animal parts like cattle bones, pig skins, and other hides. That's right, the iconic little jiggling bears, along with other treats like Jell-O and Starburst candy, are made with gelatin, the broken-down collagen of animal bones and skin. Granted, these parts are leftovers of the production process, so it is nice knowing there are no wasted parts being thrown out. But let's not dwell on the images of animal processing and focus on some gummy bear fun facts. Did you know that they were first invented in 1922 by a German man named Hans Riegel? Or that gummy bears may soon be good for your teeth? While the original products stuck to your teeth and could lead to tooth decay, experiments are underway to make them with a germ-fighting additive called xylitol. And did you know that gummy bears could easily take over the world? According to Haribo, the German confectionery company founded by Hans Riegel, if you lined up just 1 year's worth of gummy bear production head to toe, the line would encircle the planet 4 times. Chocolate. The main issue with chocolate has to do with ethics, specifically child labor. In 2018, a labor consortium released a report on the state of the global cocoa industry and its agriculture. Basically, their findings showed a steady decline in cocoa purchase prices, which resulted in even smaller profits for cocoa farmers. In response, the already impoverished farmers, many of whom made less than $1 a day, had little alternative than to use more child labor. labor. The report estimated that over 2 million child laborers were being used in West Africa alone. Companies like Nestle and Hershey have plans to minimize and outright end child labor within their production chains, but actual action can be difficult to attain. If you're a chocolate fanatic, it might be a good idea to research where you're getting your chocolate from. There are many ethically sourced ways to get the yummy stuff. McDonald's Chicken McNuggets. In 2016, the restaurant chain changed their Chicken McNugget recipe so that parents can feel good about feeding them to their kids. This involved the removal of dyes and added flavors to their mix, not to mention a public relations campaign to combat a viral 2010 release of a pink blob video depicting the unsavory sludge-like origins of the processed nuggets that was reported as completely false. Today, the process for making them are relatively unchanged except for the removal of certain dyes and additives, or at least changing the names of them so that they're no longer considered dyes or additives. First, the chicken cuts are separated from the breast meat. The fat is trimmed off of the breasts and then dumped into a grinder where it's mashed and plopped into a blender. Chicken skin and undisclosed seasonings are then added for flavoring, and the resulting paste is then moved to the forming room, where the 4 iconic McNugget shapes, the bell, the bone, the ball, and the boot, are mashed and molded. The shapes then roll down the assembly line to be sprayed with a light batter and then dipped in a second, sicker batter called tempura. At this point, they look quite like sugar cookies until they're partially fried. Then they're flash frozen, bagged, boxed, and shipped out. Bananas. Bananas seem to be America's favorite fruit, with 2012 import records showing over 9 billion pounds coming into the country. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the average American eats about 10 pounds of the fruit each year. While their familiar shape and color prove to be a healthy snack, it should be concerning to know what goes into growing them. According to a 2016 report found in The Guardian newspaper, the banana is a genetic accident in nature. They're all nearly genetically identical, and that means they all have the same exact vulnerabilities to the same exact diseases. Some experts believe that upwards of 35 pounds of pesticides are used on each acre of banana trees. While these pesticides have not been known to leach into the skin of the bananas, they do manage to leave some very negative effects on surrounding wildlife and the local inhabitants living in close proximity to the plantations. The most vulnerable seem to be children. Brain function and cognitive development for children whose mothers were exposed during pregnancy to the commonly used pesticide chlorpyrifos were considered lower than non- or less exposed kids, according to a 2011 study. For such reasons, it may ease your conscience to purchase bananas bearing a certified organic or fair trade certification sticker, which are preferable to fruit grown with social and environmentally destructive processes. Global vendors that use the fair trade certification agree to some restrictions on toxic pesticides, as well as enhanced protection and reasonable minimal pricing for producers. Deli meats. The varieties of tasty sandwich meats look too good to deny. The different options and combinations too fantastic. Unless you're vegetarian or vegan, of course. Regardless, you may want to reconsider your meat intake after you hear about what is added to your delicious delicatessen specialties. Lower-grade deli meats were created to make use of the animal parts no one would otherwise buy separately. Those bits are ground into paste, dyed, mixed and packed into sleeves to produce bologna, olive loaves, and hot dogs. Stomach rumbling yet? In August 2006, an FDA report claimed the country sees an average of 500 deaths and 2,500 reported cases of severe food poisoning annually. In response to this meat contamination-related data, the FDA approved an additive to be sprayed on the meats prior to packaging. Among other additives, this special sauce included bacteriophages that only attack bacterial cells, such as Listeria monocytogenes, those nasty little critters that can grow on cold meats. This was a first for the FDA to use as such an additive. Sounds kinda gross, but these bacteriophages are known to live in the human digestive tract and do not attack or harm plant or animal cells. Nutella. This chocolatey spread is an undeniable hit at many a breakfast table. But if one were to break down its ingredients, they might not be inclined to spread it on anything except a rat trap. Just 2 tablespoons of this spread contains 21 grams of sugar and 11 grams of fat, 3.5 grams of which are saturated. This is great if you're looking for a quick boost of energy, but it will be a short-lived blast. And then there's the second largest ingredient in Nutella, modified vegetable oils. And keep in mind that these are constantly considered different than regular vegetable oils. Excessive usage of this ingredient can lead to a list of heart problems, liver damage, and negatively affect brain and nervous system function. In 2012, Ferrero, the makers of Nutella, lost a $3 million class action lawsuit for health washing the public into believing that Nutella was part of a nutritional breakfast. The claim was paid to anyone who took part in the lawsuit, and Ferrero was also required to change their misleading marketing strategy, health claims, and Nutella's labeling. So the moral of the story here is this: it might be healthier to eat candy bars for breakfast than this stuff. Coconut. There are many people out there who choose to drink coconut milk over cow's milk because they feel it would be otherwise supporting cruelty to the bovines. But is coconut farming actually worse? According to PETA, in Thailand it is, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals financed an investigation in 2020 that exposed, in part, how monkeys are still being used at many farms and that monkey schools are still in operation and coconut picking competitions using monkeys are still taking place. Even though many retailers around the world have stopped purchasing Thai coconut products, the Thai coconut industry is actively attempting to mislead global retailers and consumers about the continued use of monkey labor. The image of cute and playful primates being forced to pick coconuts for hours on end brings a whole new level of pity for them. So don't monkey around with your coconuts. Check that you're buying them from a reputable and ethically sourced distributor. Soybeans. The soybean industry has certainly been on the rise over the past decade. While its exponential growth has made many industrialists and farmers very wealthy, it has also brought with it a number of environmental and a few health issues to consider as well. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the eruption and popularity of soybeans and their related products have caused a chain reaction of environmental consequences and devastation. Countries like Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, and Paraguay are continuing to turn more and more animal habitat areas into soybean plantations. While animal species are losing their home, there are also devastating effects stemming from the soil erosion created from these huge plantations, especially when near bodies of water. Runoff from the farmers' pesticides is also contributing to huge increases in pollutants in the rivers and tributaries, and their eventual connection with the oceans. Health-wise, there is a long list of health benefits to eating soybeans in moderation. According to the FDA, 2 to 4 servings a day should not be exceeded. This may be in part due to soybeans having a high concentration of isoflavones, a type of plant estrogen that's also known as phytoestrogen. Though isoflavones are a type of antioxidant compound and can prevent certain types of cell damage, they're also known to bind with estrogen receptors and mimic estrogen properties found in the human body. So, if you find that those Arnold Schwarzenegger movies are starting to make you cry, maybe throttle back on your soy intake.